What's up, everybody? We're going to get started here in just a couple minutes. I am going to keep it very light and kind of just help everybody find some sort of presence or present awareness. There's a lot going on. There is a lot going on right now. So I don't want to get too rambunctious or crazy or anything like that. But as hard as it is for us to move around right now, or want to move around, we want to kind of, depending on how you're handling what's going on, and everybody's kind of in this weird limbo state. We don't really want to move. We don't really want to, we want to kind of hibernate or kind of close off until we find out what's on the other side. And that's, talked about a little bit last couple of weeks of the liminal space, or like the void, or the uncertainty of what's going on. And it's really challenging for people to be in that state for a long period of time. And we've been building up this energy for quite some time now leading up to this. And right now we're at this tipping point. So there's a lot of contention. There's a lot of tension building up to find out what's going to happen on the other side. So be easy on yourself. We'll talk about it a little more tonight. I'm going to turn this music down for a second. 1 second. Be right back. All right. So yeah, my name is Joe Clayman. I am the owner of Move, and I created the core movement system, which is this giant thing that I'm sitting in right now. So really a lot about it. If you haven't been here before with me, it's all about letting go and playing and trying to find our self back, our real self back, who we're supposed to be before the world got a hold of us. So it's interesting to watch different age groups of people playing or completing the task, because little kids have this freedom about them. They're joyous and carefree, and they're not worried about what people think. And unfortunately, as we get older, it's something I've observed is, as the world continues to get its grapple on you or its claws in you, and it slowly wears us down into, we shouldn't do this, we can't do that, and we're too old for this and too young for that. And we're always fighting this plateau of am I in the right or am I in the wrong? And we're going back and forth all the time. So it's really challenging. And what my biggest goal of everything I have here is to allow people to feel what it's like to be them again, just for a little bit at a time. It could be 15 or 20 minutes, it could be a little bit longer. The cool thing is you can do it at home. You can do it with me on here on Wednesday nights. You can do virtual sessions with me, one-on-ones. We can do semi-private. We can do a few groups together, or 5 or 6 people together. There's a lot of different ways of doing it, but the benefits you get from it are all the same. Is that it gives you a moment of time where somebody asking you to do something, because it really is me just asking, because the phrase I'm going to give you for all of this before we start tonight is there are no rules, there are no rights and wrongs, and you can do anything you want. And that applies to a lot of situations in our life, to where there isn't really a right way to climb the mountain. There isn't a right way to go to accomplish your goal or your dream. It's literally your way. And the best we can do is ask for people's advice and suggestions on how to guide ourselves up this mountain. But in the end, it's our mountain, and nobody else can do it for you. The path of mastery is yours. The path of anything that you want of your dreams is yours. And that's the challenging part of it. So, really letting yourself be you, finding yourself back, and letting that carry you through, even when it gets really hard. Because they say sometimes you have to pat yourself on your own back, because there's a lot of people that want to be where you're at or want to do what you're doing, and they can't do that. So they tend to put us down. They don't want us to accomplish our dreams if they can't accomplish their dreams. So we go in this back and forth of putting each other down, where we can actually build each other up. and get rid of the egocentric mindset and go back into a unified consciousness where we're all one thing. We're all one person, and caring about each other and building things for the future based on what um, is great for humanity overall and not good for one person. So something to think about. Um, so a lot of this is based in gaming. So it's like gamifying your life. It's really taking the same things, whether you're cooking in your kitchen or building something out in your wood shop or whatever. You need a tool from over here and a piece of wood from over here and a piece of wood from over there, or in your kitchen, and like the spices are over here and the sink is over here and the stove is over here, and you're just moving in the same space you would be in your house. You're just now doing it. With me, I do it with people in this controlled space, so we can actually like create this flow state or this play state with them. But we can also customize the space to where I can work with elderly people and move everything up higher so they can walk underneath of it. You work with athletes, work with children, you can move them all down lower for the children to reach. So, but what's fun about it is it's like literally your game, because by me taking all the rules and the rights and wrongs away and any ability or reason I have to stop you, it gives you a chance for one point in your life again to just be you, to be like all you, because it's meeting you it's meeting you physically and emotionally and mentally right where you're at. By me giving you all of your power and taking all of my power away and basically just having you complete a task. And we're safe on the floor, we're moving around. I'm not telling you how fast to move. I'm not telling you how quickly or creatively or anything like that. All I'm going to do tonight is give you an object to use of your body, or a point of your body to use, like your elbow. And you'll take 4 or 5 or 6 objects like these blocks and set them around you. And what I'll do is I'll give you that one thing to use to touch the objects with. Then I'll give you 1, 2, or 3 things based on what level we're at to not use. So it's based in constraint-induced movement therapy for strokes. So if you want to do any kind of research on it, you can look at it that way. But yeah, so you'll use one piece of your body to touch the objects that are around you with. And then I'll say right elbow touches all the objects and your left foot stays off the floor the entire time. So the challenge is remembering what you're using, what you can't use, and then figuring out how to get your body safely your own way around to all the objects around you. And how far apart the objects are, what the objects are, how many there are, that's your game. So if you want 12 objects instead of 4, by all means, grab 12. So it's literally customizing your session to you specifically. And whether you're doing that right now with me, in the comfort of your own home, or you're in here with me, but you get the same sensation, the same feeling of being in that play state or that flow state for a little bit, where nothing's going to hurt you and nobody's watching you, and you're just doing it on your own, your way. So you're simply just doing a task, and you're taking your time to figure out what's comfortable for you, what's safe for you, and how fast you want to move and how you're going to get there. So that way it's your game. And the safety is the biggest thing. So as we can move forward, we have level 1, level 2, and level 3. Level 1 is one thing you're touching with, and then one thing you can't use. Like say your hand, you can't touch the floor with your hand, and you're going to touch with your right elbow. And then level 2 is right elbow or something else, and maybe your right and left foot can't touch the floor. And then level 3 would obviously be 3 things you can't touch the floor with, and then you're still moving around. So those get a little more challenging, and safety, like I said, is the very most important thing. So the people you're surrounded by matter, the number of people you're surrounded by matter. So all of these things play into how safe you feel in playing the game. So take your time, move around, figure out how the distance you want to travel. You're going to be doing a lot of loops around the objects, however you want to get there. So take your time and move around, warm up and do it. So don't go really fast in the beginning, because we're gonna go for probably 8 or 9 different times, different ways with using things and not using things. So really safety is the biggest thing. And like I said, it's safety about who's around you, how many people are around you, that you're safe on the floor. There's a lot of things that you're trying to reduce as many things as possible down to what you feel that makes you feel happy or joyful, or peaceful. So, and that's something to think about right now too with what's going on, is to like find your personal space, find your inside space to kind of sink into for right now until all this is kind of past us, till we can kind of settle the dust on the other side. But right now you need to like find your runaway spot. If you haven't heard me talk about that, it's like, where's your tree house, right? Where did you run away from? Where did you run away to when you were a kid to find peace, to scream and cry and yell and get all this out of you, right? So those are your runaway spots, and we still need those as adults because, adulting is hard. And sometimes you need a spot where you can go to where nobody can see you and nobody can hear you, and you can just be you, and you can feel how you're going to feel. You can yell how you're going to yell, and you're going to cry how you're going to cry, and it doesn't matter because it's just your space and nobody can hurt you. So that's really a big thing to think about right now, is like, don't overwhelm yourself with life and overwhelm yourself with everything that's going on right now. So you have to find a balance in there somewhere. So, all right, so that's kind of the rules of the game and what we're doing. And then basically throughout the night, I'm going to talk about some philosophy things and some points of view, some tips on how to stay calm right now and stay relaxed, and ways you can just play and let go and like entertain your children, wear the kids out. There are all different ways you can use this for. So, all right, so let's do like a quick move around. This won't have any restrictions, just so you can see how it feels and what we're doing. So let's use our left knee to touch with, and this won't have any restrictions. So you're just gonna go to your objects that you have out around you and use your left knee, and you're gonna go to all the 4, 5, 10, 50,000 objects you have around you, whatever you decide to use. So your left knee will go to touch all 4 things. I'm gonna touch a few of the balls up top too, just to kind of add some things into it. So my left knee, and we're gonna go around to all the things we have in our space. So notice, like, I do a lot of tumbling or a lot of rolling, and that's something that I've watched little kids do all the time, and that's something we stopped doing as adults at some point in there, for whatever reason, that we want to be like crawling, or we want to be standing and big and strong, and like, we're not allowed to be like small and like gentle anymore, or bumbly. So I always call it the adult brain or the child brain. The adult brain wants to roll around like a board, and they want to be stiff and rigid, and we're like trying to roll around like this so we can't get around. I'm not judging you for it. If you've done this, if you're trying this and that's how you've been trying to get around, that's a very normal thing. It's past a certain age range or a thought process or whatever, where we get very rigid and we want to crawl, or we want to be like a board. And but if you watch little kids, I say we because I feel like I'm a little kid half the time anymore. But we roll around like babies, like little balls, and it's so much easier to get your body around when you're in a ball, right? Because we have all these softer spots on our body to roll on than we are if we're like a rigid board and we're trying to crawl like on our hard knees or like our elbows and stuff. So give into the squish, give into like the rolling, and like let go and move around and just like enjoy how it feels to just let go. Because how much of our rigidity in our muscles, how much of our like sore backs and our bad hips and our tight low backs come from our mental health. I had a podcast earlier. It was pretty amazing, and I said this. I was like, we don't account for the guy that had 20 years of depression that led to his back hurting. Because when you're sick, scared, tired, or hurt, you go into the fetal position. You curl up into a ball. So if you walk around for 20 years curled up like that, is that why your back hurts, or did you injure your back? Right. So there's things that we need to like discuss about that. And if you're somebody that has like chronic back pain, maybe you want to think about that. Like, how is my mental health? Check in with yourself. Do your self-awareness checks and see if like how you feel is like, do you truly feel happy? Do you feel fulfilled? Do you feel like powerful and amazing and you want to go out and do things? Or do you feel kind of like reserved and like kind of hunched over and kind of not wanting to be out in the world. And that's very possible right now. There's a lot going on with our world, the pandemic, with like uncertainty. We have the other thing going on right now. I'm not going to mention just for the sake of it. There's plenty of it out there. So yeah, you know, let go and relax, and be you, and take your time. Take time for yourself to play, nurture your inner child, find a reason to laugh every day. You know, even if it's about the most silliest thing. You know, Bree and I realized our noses feel like they match when we put them together, and it's something funny that we just talked about, right? So it's like, um, it's just some silly reason to laugh, right? And that's what you have to find. It's like the tiny things, the simple things that make it worth it. So, all right, so let's do a movement with a restriction. So, like I said, we're going to start at level 1. You can stay watching if you want. You can move around with me if you want. It's completely up to you. So let's use our right knee to touch with and our left hand off the floor. So right knee touches, left hand stays off the floor, okay? So then you're just gonna move any way you want. There's no rules or rights or wrongs, and you can do anything you want. I know it's weird to be able to have complete freedom and liberty to do however it is you want to do it, right? But in this space right now, at your home doing this, like you have the freedom to do this task literally any way you want, okay? So your right knee is going to touch and your left hand will stay off the floor, okay? You don't have to worry if your hand touches the floor at all. I mean, you didn't really hurt yourself or anybody else, so I mean, does it really matter that you made a small little mistake? You don't. You just do the best you can with what you have. And that's what we're all doing right now with during the pandemic and during just life in general, is that you just keep trying. Most of us healthy adults are walking. Most of us were born with 2 legs, and we do a pretty good job at walking and running for a little bit. How many times did you fall down trying to figure out how to walk? I mean, you ever watch your small child learning how to walk, or another baby, and they're like bouncing off of everything, banging their head against things and like falling over and smacking on their butt and like all these things, right? That was you. You did that same thing when you're watching that little kid fall over all over the place and struggle and cry and get super upset because they can't figure out how to walk. Guess what? That was you. You did the same exact things. And guess what? You walked. You're still walking. You figured it out. And life is really the same way, is that you pick something like walking and you keep practicing it over and over and over again as you keep banging your head against things and people are throwing bricks at your face and whatever. And you're like, it's fine. I'll learn how to walk anyways. And you keep going. And it really sucks sometimes. That's the whole patting yourself on the back, because sometimes you just walk by yourself and you haven't seen anybody in months that's going to pat you on the back. So you just kind of pat yourself on the back and you keep going. So, but think about that, like everything you pick, right? Especially right now, we're trying to find, what we're going to do with our newfound lives on the other side of the pandemic, or you want to build a business, do you want to create something or whatever? It's like, specialize into one thing, find something that you want to really learn about, and just start listening to podcasts, listening to YouTube channels, reading books about that one topic, and become educated or overly educated in that one topic that you can now teach some of that topic or build a business around that topic, because now you're one of the experts. So just focus in on something and practice it and learn it. And remember that you only learn by doing. You can read about it, listen about it, you can talk about it, but until you physically start doing it with your hands and breaking things and molding it and like trying to put this piece together into there, and that doesn't work, so you have to go and order 10 more pieces from Australia or wherever to like put them together. So you just keep finding more pieces. It's like the Lego movie where you're like the master builder and you're just going to bring things together and try to like figure out how they're all going to go together, right? So, but you just keep trying. And you keep trying it and keep trying and you keep putting things together, and eventually something just comes out of it. and that's what you have. So, all right, so let's do another level 1. Let's do our left foot touching. So our left foot will touch all the objects, and our right arm, let's keep the whole arm off. See if we can try that. So our left foot will touch, and our whole right arm. So no, you can touch your shoulder if that bumps, but your elbow and your hand, right? So, yeah, your whole right arm off, and our left foot will touch. Okay. All right. That one seemed kind of easy. I thought it was gonna be a little harder than it was, but I mean, that's me doing. I've been doing this for 6 years now, so you get pretty good at things after a while. So let's go into present awareness. If you don't really know what that is, like you're feeling it right now. Normally we can plan our lives out. We have for most of our lives, be able to plan our lives out, years in advance, or weeks in advance even, or months in advance. And we have all these things that were normal before. So they're like, back there, this happened and it's always happened and it's fine. We're gonna figure it out. This is what we used to figure it out. Well, right now you don't have a lot of back there to use right now to figure out what you're gonna do or how you're gonna do it. So it's like, you can't say the last time the entire planet shut down for a pandemic, this is what I did and it seemed to work pretty well. Because you haven't experienced it before. So right now you're in a new experience. Every single minute, every day of your life right now is a brand new minute. And it is anyways, but right now you don't have a lot to go, last time I did this, it was like that. Because that's not there anymore. Because you never had another pandemic. You didn't have the whole globe shut down. And then with everything that's going on right now, we can't really look forward. Usually, like during the whole pandemic leading up to the election, I always said the word, sorry. We can't plan that far ahead because we don't know what's going to happen after that moment, that spot, that period, and what the world's going to be like after that. Well, right now we're feeling the tension really high because the liminal phase, which is like the space between, the transition period between what was and what's coming, is very, very tense and very tight right now. So we're feeling like our present awareness right now is no longer than a couple days between what you can realize from before and how far you can plan your future based on the information you have going forward. So this is maybe one of the most present moments, present times you've ever felt. And that's why you might be feeling a lot of that tension or that dread, because you can't really see anywhere past a certain point. It's very tight space in here. And it's very it can get very squishy and it doesn't feel good because it'll make you feel a lot of the things from inside that you didn't really want to feel. So, all right, so let's do another level 1. Let's do our right knee touching and our left elbow and hand off the floor. So you can use your shoulder, but this like from here down will stay off the floor and our right knee will touch, okay? Remember to try getting around like a ball. It's a lot easier. And you know what? If your arm touches by accident, remember it doesn't matter because you didn't hurt yourself or anybody else. You're just doing the best you can with what you got. That's really the thing you got to remember with everything that's going on right now and how you're trying to figure it out. And to the parents learning how to homeschool and navigate all of that, I give you a lot of props. Like definitely a lot of kudos for that because that's a lot to figure out for a bunch of other humans, not just yourself. So yeah, there's that. So do the best you can with what you have. That's all you can really do right now is figure out what you have to work with in the present moment, how you feel about things, how you feel about yourself, and realize that we're going to get through this together no matter what. We will come out of the other side, and there's going to be a lot of feelings, a lot of emotions, but we will get through it. And we're just doing the best we can with what we got, right? If you make a mistake, it's just a mistake. So move on. All right, so let's do a level 2. And like I always say, if you were comfortable where you're at with level 1, which is one thing using and one thing not using, stay there, or stay watching, or stay listening. It's completely up to you. But if you want to stay there, stay there. If you want to come with me and we'll do a level 2, then join me for level 2, okay? So level 2 is going to be one thing you're touching with and two things you're not, okay? So let's use our right elbow to touch with, and our right knee and left foot will stay off the floor. So the right knee and left foot off the floor, and your right elbow is touching, okay? So remember to, like, here's a good one to like really be able to roll and kind of crunch your body up. And you might bump your knee and you might bump your leg, your foot, and it's okay because you're just doing the best with what you got. And that's all we can do right now. So right foot, left knee is gonna be off the floor, and our right elbow is gonna be touching. So all you are is a ball of energy moving through space relative to something else. We're just like this, we're a human, we're a being, we're us. And we just have to get our us through this space that we're in, and that's all that really matters. And the more confident you are to move in a small space, it gives you some more confidence to move in a bigger space. So what you're doing in here and what you're doing for yourself at home by doing this is you're getting comfortable moving in weird, spontaneous, silly ways, however you can. That way, as you increase where you're at right now, and like say I was doing this, and then I had one person watching me, or a dozen people watching me, or 50 people watching me, or at one point I had 1,300 people watching me, do randomized silly things on the camera. So each time a bunch of people are watching, or I was at a health fair and someone was in here moving around, they're like, man, I thought this would be a lot easier than it was. And 12 strangers were watching them do something they'd never done before. So the more people watching you, the more challenging it is for you to move, because you're worried about the other people's opinions instead of just doing what you feel like you want to do yourself to make yourself feel good. So you have to move on your own, and starting small around 4 little blocks or in the cube or your house with a few objects, and getting comfortable laughing and being silly and having fun and just like joking around and playing with the kids, and like watching the kids watch mom be silly on the floor and do stupid things. You as mom become more comfortable in that situation, which then correlates to you being more comfortable in the real life situations. It directly correlates to the same. It's just you're moving in space or in life, solving puzzles as a being, and you're solving them the best way you can. So the more comfortable you can be at home being silly, the more comfortable you can be outside being silly. All right. And then you can be more silly in front of more people, and eventually go on stage and be silly in front of all the people. All right. So like you're just nurturing your inner child. You're trying to like let that come back out again, because there is no right or wrongs. There are no rules. There is no like, you can really do anything you want. So do it your way, but realize it's your way, and other people might not like your way. And that's okay. They don't have to like your way, as long as you like your way and you're getting somewhere. Maybe you're getting somewhere is just making you happy, and that's fine too. All right, so let's do level 2. Let's do our left elbow touching, and we'll keep both feet off the floor. Okay, so left elbow touches, both feet off the floor. All right. So we're just a ball of math. It's just math, right? There's us, which you to me, or me to you, I'm an uncontrollable variable. I am just like this ball of math moving around this thing however I want. So in real life, you're just a ball of math or a ball of energy moving through something in space that's measurable to you, right? So even if everything in the whole planet disappeared, we could still measure you to Mars or you to Pluto or you to whatever. So there's always something else in the universe that we can measure you to. So that's why there are no rules or rights or wrongs. I mean, there's right or wrong way of doing something. There are wrongs, but that's part of us too. If you've never really explored your shadow side, that might be something you're feeling right now, is like this darkness or like this like uneasiness, and that's like our integration of our shadow or the potential that we have as a human to do something bad. And you can nurture whatever wolf you want, whatever seed you want, whether it's the bad wolf or the good wolf. And that's kind of partly who you become, is nurturing. If you can integrate your shadow or integrate who you are in the dark side with the light side, and then you become light with the potential of dark. So that's the shadow. That might be something you're feeling right now in the present awareness. So do the best you can with it. Be patient with yourself. All right. So let's do another level 2. If you're just jumping in right now, level 2 is one thing you're going to touch with, like my right foot, and then 2 things you can't use. So you'll take just a few random objects, if you have them laying around right there where you're at, and be on the floor, and we're just going to move around our ball of math or space with our self in these objects around us. So you can have as many objects as you want. You can change the height, you can change the distance. It's really however you want to do it, and just be you. And there's no other ways or rights or wrongs to do it. So, all right, so let's use I think I forgot what I was doing. So let's use our right hand, and no right foot, no left knee. So right hand will touch, no right foot, no left knee, okay? See, a lot of times the biggest challenge we have is that we overthink what we're doing, the paralysis by analysis, because we keep thinking about it and trying to like plan the most perfect time to like do it, perfect time to act, perfect time to jump, perfect time to like begin the task. And there really isn't one. You just have to start. You have to start however you are, wherever you're at, whatever you're sitting at, whatever you're standing, it doesn't matter, whatever room you're in, and you just have to start, right? And begin your task and do like whatever you decide you want to do. So you are just going to move around yourself in your space of math and close the gaps. It's just like, here's me, here's you, here's our space, and you're going to move around. So it sounds very simple, because it is, but what gets challenging is that it's taking us all the way back to, getting us out of our own way and being able to do things whatever makes us feel happy and makes us feel joy, and not worrying about what everybody else thinks about the way you're doing it, right? So, all right, so let's do another level 2. Let's do left elbow touching and no knees on the floor. So left elbow is touching. Keep both knees off the floor, okay? Remember, if anybody's watching you do this, it becomes more challenging, because you have to be comfortable with who's watching you do this. Because think of it like dancing alone by yourself, doing a dance you've never done before in front of other people. And this is why doing this with your family is a great way to start, because, or even by yourself, using, you can use little note cards or decks. We're working on a deck of cards that you can use, that you can play it yourself using that. but playing it with your family or playing it with yourself first and getting comfortable and doing some of the movements, and then you evolve into playing it with another person, and then you evolve again by playing it with, you know, multiple people, right? And then you keep like adding who's watching you do this, adding the different people that are watching you do this, and you're just trying to be as comfortable as possible in the space doing this, as many people as you want are watching you. And you just keep building that up, and it builds your confidence level, and it builds your ability to process information and handle situations out in real life, because you're practicing it in a safe environment, and then taking what you learned in the safe environment and going back out into the more scary environment, back out into the woods, right? So you're practicing it at home, practicing it in your cave, you're figuring it out how you're going to get around and what you're going to do, and then you take that information, you go back out into the forest, and you keep doing that. So that's what you're doing here, is you're just practicing your movement. You're practicing your creative movements. You're practicing your confidence and your security and your ability to escape threat. And then you're taking that back out into the forest, right? So that's how this is all working. It's the same situation that you're building up from to be able to handle life just a little bit easier again. All right. So let's do level 2. Let's do no hands on the floor at all. Actually, no right hand, no left elbow. No right hand, no left elbow. And then your left knee touching, okay? Remember, you can move any way you want. There are no rules, rights and wrongs. You can do anything you want. Literally, you can sit there and watch. You can move around. You can play. You can do a little bit of movement. You can do no movement. It's just really remembering that there's really no right way to live your life and to figure out what's going on. And you're just in present awareness, figuring out what to do with what you have, the best you can with what you have, right? Because that's all you have. We don't have a lot to go back on right now. We don't have a lot to go forward on. So all of us are feeling this pinch of like present awareness, being in the now. And being in the now is one of the hardest things for us to process, because we want to be able to plan out in our future. We want to be able to like go remember something we did to protect us right now, and we don't have that. So everybody's feeling this like what they call the liminal space of the present awareness. So I want to kind of keep bringing this back up because there's new people jumping in and out, watching. And these are important topics right now that can help you. So if you haven't heard of the liminal space, Liminal, it's the space between, it's the void between what was and what's coming. And it causes a lot of anxiety for people. It causes this feeling of presence, this like feeling of now, because we don't know what's going to come next. It's like the waiting room in the doctor's office, that you don't know what the doctor's going to tell you, if it's going to be good or bad, right? So you get this like anxiety, and like that's the liminal space, that's the void. So that's what you're feeling right now. So look it up. There's really great articles on it. Learning about it can help you stay more calm as we progress through all of this, from what we're going through from last night to today, and what we're going through like through the rest of the pandemic. Understanding what liminal is, or like the void is, and realizing you can do your 2020 is the whole void. It's the whole liminal space from when we started to what's going to be next, right? So take some time and read about it, learn about it. It's important. Present awareness, I brought up earlier, is we don't have anything. We can't say, most of us alive today can't say the last time the whole planet shut down or we had a pandemic, I did this and I was fine. And we can't plan any farther ahead right now than a few hours or maybe a couple days or a week, because we don't know what's coming next. So you're in this very tight present space of understanding, like, how do I feel being this present? And that's what's happening right now for a lot of us. So, all right, let's do a level 3. Now these are a little more challenging. These are 3 things you can't use and 1 thing you're going to use. So if you want to try this, you're jumping in right now, you can do the level 1, which is one thing to use, one thing not to use. So if you're using your right elbow to go to all your objects, if you're jumping in right now and you don't know what I'm talking about, just grab 4 or 5 or 6 or 10 random objects, put them around you, and you're going to use one thing I tell you, like say your right elbow, and to touch the things around you, and then 1, 2, or 3 things you can't use to go and touch the things around you. So you're just going to take your time, move safely on the floor. There are no rules, rights or wrongs, and you can do anything you want. Okay? So I'm going to keep repeating a lot of this tonight because people are jumping in and out. And I want you to all have this information. It's the very basis of a lot of this, and it's the most helpful thing I can give you about right now. All right? So level 3, let's do no left hand, no feet, and our right elbow touching the blocks or your targets or objects, whatever you're using. So no feet, no left hand, okay? And our right elbow will be touching. Oh, I already messed that up. Sorry about that. Level 3 is a little more challenging because you got to remember a lot of things. And I'm trying to talk to you too at the same time. So if you touch something, I mentioned this before. So if you're just starting, if you bump something that you're not supposed to bump, you didn't hurt yourself. You didn't hurt anybody else in the world. You're doing the best you can with what you have. So you made a mistake. You made an oops. It doesn't matter because you're just doing the best you can. All right. So let's do another. Let's try another level 3. So like I said, if you're jumping in right now, if you want to do a level 1, it's take a few objects that are around you right now on the floor, put them around you. You're just going to move like a ball of math, flowing all the way through all the things in the forest, and you're going to get yourself around all the things. Okay, so level 1 is one object, one thing touching like your elbow, and one thing you're not touching like your foot. Level 2 is 2 things you can't use like your hands, and one thing you're going to use to touch with. And you'll keep expanding that or shrinking it based on how you feel. It's your game. So I want to make sure you're safe. Safety is the biggest important thing in regards to playing, is that you need to be safe. And safety matters about who's around you and how many people are around you watching you play the game. Okay, so all those things matter. All right, so let's do no feet. Actually, no hands and no right foot. So no hands, no right foot on the floor, and we're gonna use our left knee to touch with, okay? So let's do this. All right. So yeah, appreciate you guys coming out tonight, jumping in. I've had a lot of people just kind of jumping in and out, which is kind of fun too. If you see this, give it a share. There's a lot of people that could possibly help right now. Share the information I've been giving too, like about present awareness and about the liminal space and about the uncertainty. We will get through the other side of it. And as much as it's pinching everybody right now, we are all doing the best we can with what we got. And if you make a mistake, there's a lot of us making mistakes right now. We're just trying. And right now is the perfect time to try because everybody's trying. And I said this a while back that if at any point right now with what you're learning or figuring out with homeschooling or with your job or trying to find new jobs or whatever, if you feel like you're failing, if you have a feeling that you're doing something wrong or you're failing, try not to, because you didn't do anything to cause what's happening right now. Okay? You didn't cause the pandemic. You didn't cause like the insane stuff going on. Yes, we voted, but like that's a whole different thing. But you didn't cause the pandemic. So if you feel like you're failing right now, you're not. because you didn't cause the failure. You didn't create an action. You didn't cause an action that you did with no regard to anybody else and caused yourself to fail. So you have to remember that you didn't cause the pandemic. You shouldn't feel like you're failing. You're doing the best you can with what you have. And that's the biggest takeaway right now for tonight, is to be present, take in what you can, figure it out, move slow. As Rumi said, when you walk out on the way will appear. And that's where we're at right now. We're so present. We're so in the now that you're going to take all these tiny little steps to try to figure out where you're going, and just move very slow, be patient, give yourself grace, and do the best you can, and just kind of keep inching along, and we'll get through this a little bit at a time. All right. So if you want to reach out to me, my email is joe@neuralmovementtherapy.com. It's NEURAL movementtherapy.com. Instagram is infinite_movements. Facebook is Move Massage Raleigh. And just a reminder, I do virtual sessions, one-on-ones. I do mini sessions with like 5 or 6 people, so we can jump on a Zoom and kind of have fun together, no matter where they're at in the world. So if you're interested in any of that, let me know. I'm going to cut a little short tonight, just for everything that's going on, trying to keep it chill, keep it light, and just wanted to still be here for everybody and give some information out about how you're feeling, or how to get through how you're feeling, and why how you feel is very valid and okay. All right. So have a wonderful evening. Stay calm, stay present, do the best you can with what you have, and don't feel like a failure, because you're not. All right. Thanks, guys. I'll see you next week, and hopefully we will be on the other side seeing what the world has to offer us. All right. Have a great night.